Hi guys, I think the Labour Party have found a clever way to deal with Reform UK MPs like Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson, and it pretty much involves ignoring them. So 30p Lee stood up in the House of Commons on Monday and attacked the government over what some see as a policy to impoverish farmers. Anderson put a question to the DEFRA Minister Daniel Zeichner, and have a listen to how he responded.
Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now then, Sam Wilson is a farmer in Ashfield. He's not a rich man. In fact, he's not drawn a wage in the past 4 years. So I want the Minister, Mr. Speaker, to look me in the eyes and tell me how many farmers he's spoken to over the past few months that actually agree with this harebrained scheme.
Minister.
Well, the last farmer I spoke to over the weekend congratulated me on what we were doing.
Oh God. Okay, but both of them are probably talking out of their backsides. Okay, but this is how you deal with Lee Anderson and Reform UK. You don't take the bait. You say, you're claiming that you've spoken to a farmer and he's really upset. Well, I've spoken to a farmer as well, and he said the opposite. We've seen it before when it came to other members of Parliament from Reform. They're not really interested in representing their constituents. They're there to try and score points. And the problem they have, and they don't seem to be able to get round this, and I don't think they can, is that they ask questions and then they receive a response. So they don't have a follow-up. They can't come back after. It's not everyone is like Nigel Farage, where he asks his question, can't come back, and then later goes on Talk TV or GB News, to rant and rave about it. Lee Anderson doesn't really have that possibility. He does somewhat, but not to the same extent. So all they can do is ask their cutting question, ask their attempt to embarrass the minister question, but it sort of falls flat because the minister can respond by just ignoring them. Talking at them, not talking to them. And, I don't think there's really anything they can do about that. There is the opportunity to rant and rave in the House of Commons, and it's a bit of a joke. I constantly criticize it. It's not really there to challenge the government. It's not there to hold them to account. It's not there to really ask them difficult questions, because they can run away, or they can ignore it, or they can come up with their own answer. We've seen it with the Tories, and we're seeing it with the new government as well. If you want to really get an answer, you need to ask a legitimate question. This is just pandering. This is just an attempt by Lee Anderson to look good in front of his supporters. It's not really asking a question that's going to benefit people in his constituency. But then once again, Lee Anderson, Nigel Farage and the others are not really there to represent their constituents. Nigel Farage isn't even in Clacton at the moment. He's over in the US campaigning for Donald Trump. So these politicians are a joke, and it seems that the government are going to treat them as such. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.